Hello, everyone. All right, let's talk about Magic the Gathering today. Let's talk about the One Ring and the one-of-one parallel that was announced. Kind of we gotta give some thoughts on it. Kind of want to speculate on the price. Kind of want to speculate about parallels in general in Magic cards. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first let's speculate on what the price of this card would be. Now, conventional logic always says the card is worth whatever somebody else is willing to pay for it, right? And using that logic, yeah, somebody could very well pay $1 million, $2 million, $10 million for this card. If there's another buyer that's trying to outbid them, it goes to the highest buyer and it goes for whatever price that person is willing to pay for it. I get that. So if you want to use that as your valuation, then yeah, absolutely, the card could be worth millions of dollars. But let's use a little bit more of a logical approach in estimating the value of this card. Um, let's consider what you could buy for $1 million in any collectibles market, right? You could buy a 52 Mickey Mantle card. You could buy a Holy Grail type of unicorn collectibles, and I think yeah, you could obtain several of those types of collectibles for $1 million. So that's why the first reason why I don't think this card is worth $1 million. Um, let's compare it to the most expensive Magic card in existence that is sold at auction. Let's look at a PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus. So there was one that sold in 2021, early 2021, when the collectibles market was still pretty hot. And I think it was a PSA 10 with the case signed by Christopher Rush, the artist of the Black Lotus. So, and that card sold for, I think, a little over half a million. 511,100 according to this article that I'm reading. And if you look at the PSA pop report on that card, I think there are less than 10 of them in existence. I'll flash the PSA pop report just for reference, and I think there's 6 if I'm not mistaken. So I would view that as a more highly desirable collectible than this One Ring. So just going based off of that, I would think that the One Ring would be worth less than a PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus. Okay, so if you had a choice between the two cards, the 101 One Ring or a PSA Alpha Black Lotus, PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus, I don't know. My opinion is I feel like most Magic collectors, most hardcore Magic collectors, the whales, that type, are going to want a PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus because just that card is literally unobtainium. And so would this one ring as well be literal unobtainium. But as far as prestige, the notoriety of the card, the awareness of it within pop culture, uh, I just feel like a Alpha Black Lotus PSA 10 would be way more prestigious than owning this 101 One Ring over time. So now, yeah, the card maybe, as it's pulled and to be the first owner of it, to be at your name in, some news article, local news, Forbes, Bloomberg, they'd write an article about you. You'd be the talk of the town. But I just don't see this card being worth more than what already is the most desirable card in the Magic the Gathering world, which would be a PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus or any of these other PSA 10 Power 9 Alpha cards. I just don't see it. That's just my opinion. That's why the first reason why I don't think, that's the second reason why I don't think this card is worth $1 million. So if I had to put a price tag on it, I would say this card might be worth 100,000, 250,000. I don't know. It's hard to put a specific price on the card because, as I said, just to start off, it's worth whatever somebody else will pay you for it. And somebody could very well pay in excess of that number that I just quoted. But if you compare it to other massive Holy Grail collectibles and other collectible markets, I think that's pretty fair. 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. And think about what $1 million buys you in other collectible markets, right? You could buy Alpha. You could buy a Action Comics #1. You could buy a 52 Mickey Mantle in pretty good condition, probably, I'm guessing. Maybe like PSA 6, PSA 7. You could buy a lot of other things. Heck, just think of how much Power 9 you could buy with $1 million, right? You could probably buy, I don't know, 20 Alpha Black Lotuses. You could buy multiple copies of Power 9, um, multiple sets of Power 9. You could buy full play sets of Power 9 with that much money. And when you put it into that perspective, what you could buy with whatever number that you quote, I think that's how you come to arrive at a more reasonable estimate on the price, which is not going to be in the millions of dollars. So that's my reasoning and thinking behind that. But yeah, I think that's about it. Awesome. Thanks for watching.